bond issue for, I think it was 97.7.
97.5.
Okay, and then you have to go to MDE. Can you talk about that a little bit? And
Sure.
what you submit?
We submit, so when the project is designed, we submit, and the board had actually received it and approved it, what's called a review and comment, which identifies the scope of the project, the dollar amounts. It provides some history. So the review and comment is issued to the Department of Education. The Department of Education does the review. Commissioner Concilius, in our case, gave approval and sent the review and comment back saying this is, please move forward. Go ahead and move forward, and that's when you go to the voters and ask your question.
A public notice goes in a local newspaper of what that is when it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
To inform the voters that that's what we're going to be voting on, or is it?
Yes.
And is it have any purpose in terms of people who buy the bonds?
I do not.
Ms. Hoheisel, relative to the conversation that we're having tonight, I, as a team member wanting to support my team members, I'm wondering if you could help us understand the productivity of the question you're asking right now relative to the impact of the learning, just to help us get a good lens. Just to help us see so that we can all kind of understand what you're asking.
So what do you mean by productivity? I'm not sure.
I'm wondering how your question is relative to the conversation. Okay, sorry. Thank you.
You bet.
I don't know what posting notice would have anything to do with the issuance of the bonds.
One of the people did was they sent me a public notice that appeared in the Gazette on April 6th. And what it basically does, and it says official publication, and it talks about each of the facilities in the proposal, and it comes, I believe, from the MDE approved, because it's got Brenda's name on it, and it lists what's going to be done at the high school, and then it lists the cost, and it goes to every facility in the district. I've got really two questions on that. One, this is what we said we were going to do. What happens if we don't do it?
There's many options, and I've actually spoke to legal regarding it and the Department of Education. When that is identified, and I'd like to, again, acknowledge the scope of the project as $97.5 million. That's the scope. Mm-hmm. I will say this. My experience is, depending on bids, construction, furniture, fixtures, equipments, what walls look like when you knock them down during renovation, all of that comes into play. And the numbers that are presented are a budget just like any other number. It might be favorable, it might be not favorable. What we as a school district need to abide to are the terms of what the ballot language said. If costs look differently, if conditions look differently, they meaning legal and the Department of Education, allow for the flexibility to move within the voter-approved project. But I will say this, your options are we within budget anywhere else, or do we need that funding to spend at the high school because there was something that opened up in a wall that we didn't know existed. We didn't spend $50,000, we could just refund it back into the tax base. There's many options.
We decide next week that we're going to close 3 schools. Mm-hmm. Do we have to resubmit anything to the Department of Ed in terms of not spending that money, or is it a board decision to proceed on putting playgrounds or HVAC or whatever in those?
Because $100,000 in the scheme of $97.5 million is nominal, my understanding from legal is that the board can just choose to, again, we overshot or undershot, or in a different elementary could use it. We have the rights just to do that. Now, I haven't had the opportunity to talk with the Department of Education in regards to their stance, but my guess is, and it's only a hypothesis, that they would take the same stance as legal.
Saying is, what I look when in the public notice, and it's not by accident, if you follow through this, it's like a political bill. There's something in it for every facility in our district, be it the high school, be it the junior highs, be it each of the elementaries. And my point being, and this is a hypothesis on my part, is to garner up political support. That's what it's designed to do. If you change what you said you were going to do, I can understand if you go over budget, under budget, that makes sense to me.
Yep.
But
And I
if you
appreciate
change
what you're
it,
saying, and I
do
think
you
we
have
need
to go
know
back to
that.
MDE and
Right.
say, look, are we at liberty to pull projects out of there now?
Yep, and I completely understand, and that's an excellent question. It's the people.
And I'm done.
The lawyer's not here, so you're proposing that we ask legal counsel about that.
I think it would be a good idea
Okay,
in
I
two
agree.
audiences in particular. One is the voters who thought that was in there. And then I think the second group that may, and you alluded to that as well, is somebody who buys bonds. I
Sure,
agree.
yeah.
The only question I thought that Kristen might be able to answer, I don't know the answer to that, is what MDE's expectations
Yeah.
are.
Can you guys track, go ahead, Chris.
I did speak with bond counsel, and their opinion, and that's why I say I haven't had the opportunity yet to talk to the Department of Education. But bond counsel's opinion is, just like a budget or any, as long as you're within the scope of what that ballot language reads and the review and comment, budgets change, environments change, situations change. And so bond counsel did not believe that moving those monies to help cover another cost, moving them to put them into a different elementary school's playground, whatever that looks like, he did not see any issue with that change. Now, I will follow up with the Department of Education and who did our review and comment to see what their opinion is.